Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. I know it's been a while, guys, since the last podcast episode, but we are going to start this new year off and build from it and try to get as much episodes as I can for you guys to help you on your self-improvement journey. This episode is a good theme for, for right now because it is the new year. And the title will be, Will This Year Finally Be Yours? So you guys know how we like to do it. We like to jump straight into it and kind of give you the information that you need in order to start bettering your life. So let's dive in. So this year, you need to be different and you need to have different results. So where does that begin from? That begins from changing the way your day looks. This is one of the biggest things I realized going into the new year and setting new goals. Is just looking back at my year and seeing that maybe I didn't achieve the goals I wanted to because my days didn't look like someone who is striving towards those goals, right? If you're someone that's in the gym and wants to start building a physique, how much time are you dedicating each day in order to better that? Are you meal prepping? Are you training? Are you stretching? Are you doing all these different habits that are going to allow you to see results in the coming year, right? So whatever that looks like for you, whatever goal that may be, you need to change the way your day looks in order to put yourself on the path to achieve that in the first place, right? So it's very important that you keep that in mind in how you structure and schedule your days and schedule your routine. Because if it doesn't look like you're trying to achieve something great or you're trying to achieve the goals that you wrote down before this year started, it is not going to happen once again. The next thing is you need to start thinking in a way that produces results, right? When you get into these negative loop patterns and you constantly think about all the bad things that can happen or how you're not good enough or whatever that may look like, you're never going to actually achieve the goals that you want because you spend so much time within your head thinking about all the things that could go wrong. So it's very important that you don't think like this in this new year because it is just a waste of time. It's not going to put you any closer towards your goals. And you need to constantly look at the positives in your life. As much as we try to have the perfect week or have the perfect days in order to achieve our goals, it is not always going to be that way. And on those days where it is rough and maybe you can't get everything done that you wanted to get done, you need to recognize that you being mad about it, you harping on it, isn't going to benefit you whatsoever. So the quicker you could realize this, the better. Because if you spend this year, once again, just looking at all the bad things and all the things that are going wrong, you are not going to be able to achieve those goals that you set out for. The next point is you need to remove the negative habits in your life. You know what they are. You know the habits that are holding you back. I don't need to tell you. You know that from your heart, from within you, what exactly is holding you back, right? And these negative habits can look as things that are disguised as positive ones, right? Like we speak about all the time. It's like it could be video games where, video games in itself isn't bad. But if you're addicted to them and you're spending majority of your day on the PlayStation, on the Xbox, on your PC, you're not going to be able to achieve these goals that you want, right? It's like if you have a goal that you want to read 20 books this year, the majority of your day is spent on the PlayStation. You really think that goal is going to happen? Obviously not. So it's very important that we kind of look at how our day is and start removing the negative habits that we have that are keeping us small, that are not allowing us to achieve the goals that we want in our life. The next point is do the things that suck now in order to better your future. A lot of the times, the things that are difficult in the moment are the things that are going to make you a more well-rounded and more improved version of yourself in the future. It may not always feel like it that way. And what I came to realize is that self-improvement in itself could be very boring, very tedious, and something that isn't just enjoyable in the beginning, right? But once you recognize that the boring stuff and the things that aren't as high in dopamine as, these other habits and these other things that you do on a day-to-day basis, those are the things that allow you to grow. Those are the things that allow you to change and allow you to develop yourself into the person that you're trying to be. It's usually the boring stuff. It's usually the stuff that you have to show up consistently with repetition every single day that are boring, that suck in the beginning, that are going to lead you towards um being a better version of yourself. Even just speaking now on the podcast, since I haven't done a podcast in so long, I can kind of see within the way I'm speaking that I'm not speaking in a way that I used to, that I'm kind of stuttering and kind of repeating the same words over and over again. And what I came to realize just now as I'm recording this is that I feel this way and I feel less confident in my speaking abilities because I haven't been filming as many podcasts. So what does the future Anthony want? The future Anthony wants this podcast to grow by the end of the year. And what that looks like could be anything. I just want to see progress. But in order for it to grow, I need to show up every single week and record episodes in order to make that happen. It's not just going to happen out of nowhere, right? So it's important that I recognize this, because if I don't, then I'm not going to see results by the end of this year. And then when it comes to the podcast, I would have had similar or worse results as last year. And that is not what I want. So I kind of want to go over what I am doing differently currently. And that is consistently following a schedule. I got this priority list from my girlfriend. And every single night before I go to sleep, I write down exactly what needs to be done the next day, because once you have a structure, it's much easier to follow than just saying you're going to be productive tomorrow and saying you're going to do some different things, right? So I think it's very important that you write down exactly what you're going to do the next day on a day-to-day basis. And the reason why I do it the night before and I don't just schedule like a whole week is because the days are ever changing and sometimes things will come up that I have to do. And, fixing a schedule in the beginning of the week for the whole entire week is very unrealistic to me, and maybe for you as someone who's busy as well. So I think it's important just to spend 5 to 10 minutes before you go to sleep the previous night and kind of write down everything you want to get done and do it, because it's much easier to stay disciplined when you know exactly what you're supposed to do. The next thing I'm doing, I guess, when it comes to physique and physical health and building building my strength, is tracking my calories. In 2022, when I gained the most amount of muscle and weight in the shortest amount of time, I was tracking my calories consistently, right? And I think when you have, tracking systems and seeing how your progress is being made because you're tracking everything, whatever that looks like, that's when you see the most results. So that's why in this new year, I've been tracking my calories and staying consistent with that, because I know I really only ever see changes in my physique when I do that. So it's important that you recognize that as well, is what are you currently not tracking that is not leading to results in your goals. The next thing is reading more. So currently I have a non-negotiable task I do every single day, which is read 10 pages of my book. And whenever I'm able and have the time to read more, I will, because I think, when I read more, I start to speak better. I start to have a clearer mind. I start to learn more ideas. I start to get more inspirations. So I implemented reading as like a non-negotiable in my life, because I just know when I am reading consistently that I do much better when it comes to, coming up with ideas, making content, just making myself more open and learning more. I think it's super important that we're constantly learning, and spending, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day reading is going to produce results over time. It has that compound interest aspect of it. Next thing is prayer and meditation. Once again, it's on the list of my non-negotiables. And I just try to meditate 10 minutes a day and pray every single morning, because I think it allows me to have a more clear mind in the morning and sets me up for the rest of my day nicely. Kind of how I, work out every morning. I always feel better the days I work out in the morning versus the days I don't. So I implemented that as well. And I will speak about, I guess, the results that I do see in the coming weeks of doing that consistently, and actually having some anecdotal advice from how it affected me. The next thing is daily journaling. So I used to journal all the time and have entries, and maybe I didn't put too much time into it, but what I'm trying to do now is I have a new journal and I'm trying to write at least one page full a day, seeing what that could do for me, seeing how that can help me reflect and how that can help me, improve in my self-improvement journey in general, is just being able to write down my thoughts and write down the new things I learn and ideas, and do that once a day, one page. It takes about 10 minutes, and I've been enjoying it so far. So that is something that I'm going to consistently do the rest of the year. And for when it comes to content, like my Anto List page, I'm going to be posting as consistently as possible. Like right now, it's 3 times a day. I'm going to eventually try to post more and try to post more stories. And I really want to get into being more creative with my content, sharing my journey in a different way and showing people the hardships that come with your self-improvement journey and come with trying to be your best self. So that is another thing I'm going to be doing. And I want to do that with the podcast channel as well, because I think this kind of long form content is more beneficial for people if they could have the attention span to watch it fully. So I'm going to be doing that as well with this page. And for the last thing that I'm doing that I've implemented into this new year, and then maybe you can implement as well, is monthly goals. I'm no longer looking at the year as goals because I feel like it's too distant and it becomes a blur. In day-to-day life, you could kind of forget about them. So I have monthly goals that I'm trying to achieve. I have it on my wall, written down, and I'm going to be focusing on that the most when it comes to my goal setting, is just go month to month, even sometimes week to week, and see how I can build off of that and build off that momentum. Last thing I want to say, my friend, after I kind of just got done speaking about what I'm doing differently, is don't let this year pass and you wish it was different. I think that's what happened to me last year. I wish I could have done way more. I wish I would have experienced way more and put myself out there more. And I just didn't, and I don't want that to happen this year. I think that's one of the biggest fears I've developed over the past couple of weeks coming into the new year and now starting it, is just like not wanting this year to be the same, not achieving the goals that I wrote down, not being the person that I know I can be. Just keep that in mind. And if it's a little bit of something that you think about that gives you a little bit of fear, I think it's a good thing, because that will keep you in check and that'll keep you showing up for yourself every single day. If you made it this far in the podcast, thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify. And let me know any other future topics you'd like me to discuss in the future. I'm going to try and go a different route when it comes to guests. I kind of really want to get like creative types and people, who make art, who make clothes, who, make music, whatever it might be, even like some artistic and cinematic content, how they go about it, their creative process, because I feel like I'm getting into that now with my content, and I want to see how other people go about it. So the new guests, hopefully, that come on in the future will be a little different and can be something that you guys can learn from as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the podcast, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Crush a cold to a diamond, eyes forever shining. Your beauty alone inspire a nigga to rhyming.